topic that we are going to discuss in the second unit is Ampere's law, right? So it's called Ampere's circuital law or Ampere's work law, right? So this is the second alternative for Biot-Savart law, by which we can calculate the magnetic field intensity or the magnetic field strength, right? So Ampere's circuital law is similar to that of Gauss law in actual sense, but we don't work with flux here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So firstly, what is the statement of an Ampere's law, right? So if what does the Ampere's law state, right? Ampere's law says that if a closed path, if a closed path called as Amperian path, if a closed path or an Amperian path is taken around the conductor, then the integral of the magnetic field intensity, right, around this path, or the sum of the magnetic field intensity around this path will be equal to the current flowing through the conductor. Okay, so right, we can define it in another way. So like this, if I have a conductor carrying current I, okay, current carrying conductor I, so I don't know what is the value of I, or I value can be obtained, right? If I know the value of I can calculate H bar, okay, in the vice versa. Okay, so what the Ampere's law says is, so if there is a current carrying conductor I, okay, and if I take a closed path around this conductor, right, if I take a closed path around this conductor, right, and calculate the value of H bar, okay, around this closed line or closed line, so the closed line, the line of, okay, around the closed path, then that, right, then that value will be equal to, right, the current flowing through the conductor. Okay, so the value of, or the sum of the, right, the sum of the H bar, the magnetic field intensity, the integral of magnetic field intensity over a closed path will be equal to the right, current flowing through the conductor. Okay, so it is similar to that of Gauss law, right, where we have defined the total flux, that is the lines, the total lines, flux lines, is equal to the, right, charge enclosed. In the same way, right, the magnetic field produced, the magnetic field intensity produced in a closed path will be equal to, or will be proportional to, the current flowing through the conductor. That's what Ampere's law is, simply. Okay, so the magnetic field intensity, all right, or the sum of the magnetic field intensity or the total magnetic field intensity produced in a closed path, right, which is also called as Amperian path, is equal to the, will be proportional to the current flowing through the conductor. Okay, right, so this is called as Ampere's law, and the mathematical representation of Ampere's law is this, right, closed line integral H bar dot dl is equal to I. Okay, so right, so this path, this closed path is called as Amperian path, right? So in an Amperian path or in a closed path, the magnetic field intensity H bar produced, right, the integral of this magnetic field intensity will be equal to, or the sum of the magnetic field intensity will be equal to the current passing through the conductor. Okay, so this is called as the Ampere's law, right? This is called as the Ampere's law, right? Ampere's circuital law or Ampere's law. So mathematically you represent it as integral H bar dot dl bar is equal to I. Okay, so H bar is a vector, dl bar is a vector, dot product will give us a scalar, right? So the integral of a scalar is equal to the current, which is a scalar. Okay, so correct. This is the right, Ampere's circuital law. Okay, so Ampere's circuital law or Ampere's work law is nothing but the magnetic field intensity, which states that the magnetic field intensity, right, in a closed path, right, will be equal to, right, will be proportional to the current passing through the conductor, that this closed path is enclosing. So mathematically you write it as integral h bar dot dl bar is equal to I. Okay. So this is the Ampere circuital law, and by using this Ampere circuital law, we can calculate the h bar, right, or the magnetic field intensity, right, for any type of conductor. Okay, for any type of conductor. That means, see here, I can take this as the current here. The conductor, this can be just not a line conductor. It can be a, okay, it can be a surface conductor or a volume conductor. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the DL, don't get confused that we are writing DL means line. No, this DL is the right DL of the ring or the circle, the path, the closed path that I take. Okay. So this DL bar is not of the line charge, right? It is of the right ring or the closed surface that you are taking around the conductor. Okay. So the conductor can be anything. Conductor can be line conductor, right, surface conductor, or a volume conductor. It doesn't matter. Okay. So therefore, right, the procedure is same. Okay. The procedure is same for a line or for a surface or for a volume. Okay. And right here we don't need to evaluate the cross product. That's why I said Ampere's law can be applied where Biot-Savart's law becomes complicated. Okay. So in case of surface and volume charges, using Biot-Savart's law is a little difficult, whereas using this Ampere's law will be right easy. Why? Because it doesn't matter what type of conductor it is, right? You need only what is the current passing through the conductor. Okay, right? What is the current passing through the conductor? If I know what is the current passing through the conductor, I, then I can take a closed path, right? If I know the value of I can take a closed path, right, around this conductor, and then I can calculate the magnetic field intensity using this formula. Okay, clear, ma? Understood? I hope this is clear, right? So I will repeat again, don't worry. So Ampere's law, right, says that, right, okay, whenever there is a current carrying conductor and around this conductor, if I take a closed path, which is also called as Amperian path, right, in an Amperian path, the sum of all the magnetic field intensity, right, the integral of magnetic field intensity will be equal to or will be proportional to the current passing through the conductor. Okay, so this is Ampere's law, right? By using this law, we can calculate easily the magnetic field intensity of a volume charge or a surface charge. How? See here, for Ampere's law, we just need to know what is the current passing through the conductor or current density of the conductor. Okay, we don't need to know, or we don't need to worry whether it is a line conductor or a surface conductor or a volume conductor. Whatever is it, whatever it might be, right, the process is same. Okay, so we take a type of conductor, right, whatever it might be, the current passing through is I. If you know the I value, then take a closed path around that, right? So that will give us DL bar. I know DL bar, I will calculate H bar. Okay, right? So I will know, I will calculate the H bar. Correct with this? Clear with this? Understood? Okay, so this is the essence of Ampere's law, right? So Ampere's law, right, says that if you take a closed path or Amperian path around a conductor, then the magnetic field intensity around it will be proportional to the current passing through the conductor, will be equal to the current passing through the conductor. So that is integral h bar dot dl bar is equal to I, right? The only confusion point is DL bar. What is DL bar is? DL bar is along this circle, or right, the closed path we take. Okay, it is not, just a second. Okay, it is not DL bar, right, representing the line charge, right? The charge can be anything, surface, volume, whatever it is, right? DL bar is same. DL bar is because it is taken along circle. Okay, so this is the Ampere's law, right? Okay, so for exam, right, sometimes, not many cases, sometimes we get question to prove Ampere's law also. So I will just discuss the proof. It will be very simple. Okay, so we will prove that integral h bar dot dl bar is equal to I. Okay, so how is that done? Let us see. Okay, yeah, the proof of Ampere's law. Okay, so I will prove it for infinite line conductor because we have already calculated h bar of infinite line conductor. We know the h bar of infinite line conductor. So I'm taking the same thing again. Okay, so consider an infinite line conductor, right? Okay, infinite line conductor placed in the spherical coordinates, cylindrical coordinate system, all right, extending from plus infinity to minus infinity along z axis. Okay, along z axis, right? Now consider a Amperian path as a closed circle, right? Consider a circle as an Amperian path, right? So assume that the point P is placed on the Amperian path. Okay, so point P is placed at the Amperian path. Okay, so let us assume that it is placed at that particular point. Okay, all right. Now this is my Amperian path. This is my Amperian path. So I need to okay, prove Ampere's law. Okay. Now consider a small element. So for Ampere's law, right? What is Ampere's law? H bar dot dl bar should be equal to made to I. So first let us calculate this h bar dot dl bar for this case and see what we get. Okay. So h bar we have already calculated using the Biot-Savart's law. So what we got is h bar is equal to I by 2 pi r into a phi. The direction that we got is a phi. Correct. So this is what we got. Okay. For infinite line conductor using Biot-Savart's law, what we got is h bar is equal to I by 2 pi r into a phi. Correct. Now for now dl bar. What is dl bar? As I said, dl bar is the differential element along the Amperian path. So if I consider this as my Amperian path, let us take this as small dl. Okay. So that is right, this thing. So we have assumed a cylindrical coordinate system. So we can observe that what is the differential element? The change is coming in which direction? What are the coordinates of cylindrical coordinate system? We have z, we have r, this is r, and we have this is phi. Correct. So the dl bar, we can observe that the dl bar is nothing but the change along phi. Okay, so this and this, so this is d phi. Correct. Okay, so dl bar is change along phi. So in cylindrical coordinate system, the change along phi is represented as, right, r d phi a phi. Okay, so h bar we have already calculated for infinite line conductor. I got it as I by 2 pi r into a phi, right? dl bar, right, because it is a right cylindrical coordinate system, the differential element is the change on the ring, right? And this is nothing but this is basically representing a small change in phi. Okay, so d phi, right? So change along phi is represented like this. Now, right, what we do, h bar dot dl bar, the cross product of these two. So what I get, right, what I get is I into I by 2 pi r into a phi dot r into d phi a phi. Correct. So dot product of these two. Okay. So a phi dot a phi is 1. So right, I by 2 pi, right, r into, right, a phi dot a phi is 1 into r into d phi. What is this r? This r and this r are same, so we can get cancelled it out. Okay, so this is equal to I by 2 pi, right, I by 2 pi d phi. Correct. Okay, so right, r is basically the radius. That r and this r are same, right? We are talking about the same radius. Smaller capital R here also is nothing but r, small r itself. Correct. So right, h bar dot dl bar is equal to I by 2 pi r into a phi dot r d phi a phi. So right, when I take the dot product, a phi dot a phi is 1. So I into 2 pi r. So capital R here is nothing but small r, right? Small r gets cancelled. So I by 2 pi d phi. Now, right, okay, clear with this? Understood, ma? So we are proving, we have to prove h bar dot dl bar is equal to I. Okay, so for that h bar, first h bar, because it is an infinite line conductor, h bar of an infinite line conductor is this. Okay, dl bar, nothing but the change, small change along the circle, which is given like this. H bar dot dl bar is equal to this. right? This we get. Okay. Now, right, the integral of h bar dot dl bar, h bar dot dl bar is equal to integral of h bar dot dl bar is equal to, right, what I get, integral of I by 2 pi into d phi. Okay. So I by 2 pi is constant. So we can put that outside, integral d phi. So integral d phi is nothing but I by 2 pi into phi, and the limits are 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So 2 pi gets cancelled. So what I get is I. Okay. So this is the proof, right, of Ampere's law. Okay. Correct with this? Clear with this? Okay. So what we get is this, right? H dot dl, H is, right, H dot dl, we have got it as I by 2 pi into d phi. So I by 2 pi is constant with respect to phi. So we can put that outside, integral d phi. Integral d phi is nothing but phi. What are the limits? 0 to 2 pi, right? Phi varies from 0 to 2 pi. So if I substitute, I get 2 pi. So 2 pi gets cancelled. Integral H dot dl is equal to, right, I. Hence, Ampere's law is proved. We can prove this with respect to any kind of charges. It doesn't matter. Okay. So I have just taken infinite line charge because we already know what is h bar due to infinite line charge. If you don't know, if you take any other charge, first we need to evaluate that h bar, and then we need to take the Amperian path around it, and then we need to calculate h bar dot dl bar. Okay. So you can prove it. Right. It will be valid for any kind of charge. Okay, right? Clear with this? Hope that this is understood. Okay, so this proof, right, sometimes it is asked in the exam. It's a simple. So therefore, let us just see how Ampere's law can be applied. Okay, yeah, we have got 4 steps, right? Note down the 4 steps. Okay, any doubts? Any doubts till now? Is it clear? So we will stop, right, once we see the application of Ampere's law for today. Okay, so we see how to apply Ampere's law, right? And okay, take one problem, simple problem, and then we'll finish off. Okay, yeah. So there are 4 steps, right, for applying Ampere's law. The first step is, right, choose an Amperian path. Choose an Amperian path. Okay. First step is choose an Amperian path that matches or that is identical to the type of conductor you take. Okay. So choose an Amperian path, right? Amperian path that matches or that is identical to the type of conductor we take. Okay. So what is the limitation means Amperian path? What is we call it as an Amperian path means, as we called as Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface means closed surface and condition. Same thing, Amperian path is one which satisfies 3 conditions. First condition is it should be a closed path, right? Current always flows only in closed path, correct? So, right, it should be closed path. Second thing is, right, so in this surface, the h bar or the b bar, should always flow in the normal or tangential direction. Okay, the magnetic field Amperian path should be taken in such a way that the magnetic field out of the conductor, right? It comes out of the conductor and it flows through this path, right? So it should flow in such a way that the magnetic field is always coming in normal direction, that is in this direction or in this direction, normal or tangential. Any other angle, that is 0 degrees or 90 degrees. It should not be any other angle. Okay. So the conductor, you cannot, for example, I have a line charge like this. Okay. So I cannot take a Amperian path in this way. It should be in this way or in this way. Okay. So that then only the h bar will come out like this or like this. It should not be like this. Okay. I cannot take an Amperian surface like this. Okay. Correct. So the Amperian surface should be in such a way that the h bar or b bar should always be either normal or tangential. Okay. And the third thing is the Amperian path should, right, cut or should pass, the current should pass at least once through the path. Okay, once through the path, and that is it should cut the magnetic field at least once. Okay, so generally all kinds of regular surfaces satisfy these conditions, so don't worry about that. So Amperian path is one which is closed in nature, the magnetic field should either come tangential or normal, and the third point is it should enclose the conductor at least once. Okay, it should enclose the conductor at least once. Okay, so this is the conditions for Amperian paths, right? So first thing is you should choose an Amperian path or a closed surface, okay, such that it matches with the symmetry or the shape or whatever your convenience. Okay, then choose the appropriate coordinate system as per the Amperian path, okay, or as per the conductor, based on the type of the conductor or based on the type of the Amperian path you have taken. So choose the appropriate coordinate system. Okay, and then the third point is, so just write down what is the value of h bar and the dl bar in the closed surface that you have taken, okay, or for the conductor, right? So identify the direction, okay, of h bar and dl bar and write the expressions for them. Okay, so write what is the h bar, what is the dl bar for the given type of what we can say conductor and Amperian path. Okay, so h bar will be written for the conductor and dl bar will be written for the Amperian path. Okay, then take the dot product of this, integrate it and equate it with the given current value, right? So that is right. So take the dot product of h bar dot dl bar, integrate it and equate it to the given current value to determine what is the h bar unknown. Okay, Amperian path we have chosen, so we know what is dl bar, we know what is I bar, we can find out what is h bar. Okay, the unknown value of h bar can be determined using this Amperian equation. Okay, so that is Ampere's law. Okay, h bar dot dl bar is equal to I. Okay, so these are the four simple steps, right? Firstly, choose the correct Amperian path, that is required to solve the problem. Then choose the appropriate coordinate system, right? Once you do that, after that you identify what is the correct direction of h bar, what is the correct direction of dl bar. Okay, direction of h bar and dl bar is to be determined. Okay, and write down the expressions for them. After that, the fourth step is, so use the Ampere's equation, h bar dot dl bar integral h bar dot dl bar is equal to I. So we know the value of I, what is the current flowing through the conductor, we know what is the dl bar, we can calculate h bar. Okay, so clear with this? I hope this simple steps are understood. Okay, right? So we will see one example, right? I will take infinite line conductor itself. So we have already solved infinite line conductor using Biot-Savart's law. Why we are taking that? Because it is the only easiest one and it is most asked in the exam. That's a reason. Okay, I will solve if required. I will solve it for a sheet of charge also. Okay, so for but before that, because we need to understand the procedure, let us go for an infinite line charge problem today, and tomorrow we will see for infinite sheet of charge. Okay, so we already know what is the h bar using Biot-Savart's law for an infinite line charge. So for the same thing, I'm going to solve using Ampere's law. Okay, so let us assume there is a infinite line charge. Okay, so placed in a right like this. So firstly, the Amperian path that I'm choosing is a circle, right? So the Amperian path is a circle around the infinite conductor because that will satisfy all the conditions. Okay, so Amperian path is a circle, right? Then the coordinate system that I am choosing is the cylindrical coordinate system because the conductor looks like a cylinder, so it is easy for me if I use a cylindrical coordinate system. And we know what is a cylindrical coordinate system. So there are plus z, minus z, there is r axis and there is phi axis. Clear with this, right? Okay. And the third step is we need to identify what is the h bar and what is the dl bar direction, correct? Okay, so we can see that, right? For example, if I assume a point P on the Amperian path, so we need to calculate h bar at the point P. Okay, yes, any doubts? Okay, so right, let this distance be small r and this be z. Okay, so we can see that, right? Okay, because the point is along r direction, right? The point is along r direction, the conductor is along z direction. So as per the what you can say, thumb rule, right? Left hand thumb rule. So if right, one is in this direction, the other is direction, the flux will, or the magnetic field will flow in the right perpendicular direction. Okay, so here, right, one is along z, one is along r, so the magnetic field will flow in phi direction. Okay, so plane parallel to perpendicular to both right, z and r is z cross r is phi. So right, phi h bar will be in phi direction, so h bar is equal to h phi a phi, correct? Similarly, dl bar, what is dl bar? Change along this path. So this is also right along phi direction. So what I get is right, r d phi a phi. Okay, so I have identified, the third step is I have identified h bar, I have identified dl bar. Okay, h bar, right, because h bar okay, the direction of h bar will be along phi, as the conductor is placed along z and this path is along r, right? So perpendicular to both means phi direction. Dl bar, right, on the Amperian path, a small element that is along phi, so we get r d phi a phi. Okay, now let us take the dot product of this, right? H bar dot dl bar is equal to h bar dot dl bar is equal to, right, what I get, h phi into r d phi, because a phi dot a phi is 1, correct? So integral of this, the line integral of this will give us, right, what is the line integral of this? So integral h bar dot dl bar, h bar dot dl bar is equal to integral, right, h phi into r into d phi, correct? Okay, so this is equal to, right, this is equal to integral, right, sorry, h phi is sorry, h phi, h phi is independent of right, whatever the thing, right, it's unknown, r is also independent, so I'll write integral d phi, correct? Okay, so this is equal to, right, this is equal to h phi into r into, what is integral d phi? So integral d phi is phi from 0 to 2 pi, so this is equal to h phi into r into, right, this is equal to 2 pi. Okay, so now as per right, Ampere's law, this value will be equal to the current, correct? So I, okay, so integral h dot dl is nothing but I, so therefore h phi is equal to I by 2 pi r. Okay, right, I by 2 pi r. So this implies now h bar is equal to, h bar is equal to h phi a phi, so this is equal to I by 2 pi r into a phi. So this is same as that of what we calculated from Biot-Savart's law, correct? Okay, so without knowing this also we can directly calculate using Ampere's law. This is the procedure. Okay, so first thing is I have assumed an infinite line conductor to be placed in cylindrical coordinate system. The Amperian path I have chosen is a circle. The circle is an Amperian path that I have chosen. Okay, right, the coordinate system that I have taken is the cylindrical coordinate system. Third point, I have to identify the direction of h bar and dl bar. This is the important step. Okay, so for this what I am doing, firstly for identifying h bar direction, okay, so the conductor is placed along z axis, the point is along r axis, so h bar will be in a plane perpendicular to both this. Okay, so one is along z, one is along r, so the h bar will be along phi. So what we get is h bar is equal to h phi a phi. Clear with this? Okay, then what is the direction of dl bar? Dl bar, so is nothing but the small change in the Amperian path, so we can observe that this is also along phi direction, so therefore dl bar is equal to, right, r d phi a phi. Okay, once we do that, take the dot product of these two, h bar dot dl bar, nothing but a phi dot a phi is 1, so h phi into r d phi. Integrate this, right, what we get, h phi into r d phi. So h phi r is constant, put them out, integral d phi. Integral d phi is phi, 0 to pi. We'll get simply like this. Okay. So this is how we can apply Ampere's law. Okay. You can use this concept to do it for any kind of charges, for a sheet of charge, right? For any kind of charges we can solve this. Okay. So I hope this is clear, right? Okay.